The Dybbuk Box. In certain corners of the world, stories linger like dust over forgotten shelves, stories that people whisper rather than speak aloud. Some are merely legends, softened by time. Others are warnings, sharpened by the memories of those who swore they lived through them. And then there are stories that refuse to fade, stories preserved inside objects that travel through hands and homes, leaving quiet disaster in their wake. Tonight's story is one of those. This is the tale of a wooden wine cabinet, small enough to lift, old enough to have lived several lives, and dark enough to carve its name into modern folklore. It is known as the Dybbuk Box, and though its origins reach back into shadows and sorrow, its most unsettling chapters began right here in the United States from 2001 until the present day. But I invite you now to sit quietly. Settle your breath. Let the world slow until you hear only the steady rhythm of your own heartbeat. For this is no story of loud hauntings or violent horrors. This is the story of an object whose power reveals itself in silence. And like all true haunted box mystery tales, it begins in a place both ordinary and sacred, an estate sale. The year was 2001, and the world felt on edge, turning uncertain, turning fast. But in a quiet corner of Portland, Oregon, the winding halls of an elderly woman's home were filled with nothing more than the smell of dust, polished wood, and a lifetime's worth of memories ready to change hands. Nothing about the day felt dangerous. Nothing felt cursed. But sometimes, curses do not announce themselves. They wait. The estate sale. When Kevin Manis, a small business owner and collector of old items, stepped through the front door of the late 103-year-old Holocaust survivor's home, he moved with the respect of someone who understood that objects carry stories. Hidden ones. Powerful ones. He did not come looking for trouble. He came looking for antiques to refurbish and sell. But the granddaughter of the deceased woman guided him with a trembling politeness toward a small wooden cabinet. Dark, compact, and crafted with delicate carvings, it looked like an ordinary wine box. Its doors were narrow. Its hinges old. The very air around it felt still, as though even dust did not dare settle on it for long. "This belonged to my grandmother," the young woman said, her voice tightening. "But, we were told never to open it." Kevin raised an eyebrow. Never. She called it a Dybbuk box. She believed a spirit lived inside. A restless one. A chill brushed the back of Kevin's neck, though the hallway was warm. He ignored it. Stories accompanied old objects the way clouds accompanied the sky, ever present, ever shifting. He purchased the cabinet. The granddaughter insisted, begged that he take it. He assumed it was because she feared the superstition. But perhaps, she feared something else. To the opening. Days later, in the quiet of his workshop, Kevin set the cabinet on a table. He studied its smooth finish, its aging hardware. It felt heavier than it looked. Beneath the silence, he felt a faint sensation like the pressure of a storm building, but again, he ignored it. Curiosity rarely whispers twice. When he opened the box, the hinges groaned, tired from years of stillness. Inside, he found a small collection of objects. 2 locks of hair, one brown, one blonde. A dried rose. A tiny golden goblet. A slab of granite with Hebrew lettering. A black cast iron candlestick. and a single penny, darkened by time. Each item felt carefully chosen, as though part of a ritual. Kevin lifted them gently, one by one. The room felt colder. Something brushed the base of his spine, a sensation like being watched from behind a doorway. He spun around. Nothing moved. Nothing breathed. Still, he continued working. That night, shadows crept through his dreams. He saw a figure not fully human, not fully smoke curling around the edges of the box, whispering in a language he did not understand. The next morning, the smell of jasmine, his mother's favorite scent, hung heavy in the air. But she lived miles away. That was the moment Kevin realized the stories might be more than superstition. 3. The first signs. He tried to gift the box to his mother for her birthday. But when she opened it, she collapsed. Her expression, frozen in terror, locked onto something Kevin could not see. She was rushed to the hospital, where doctors later told him she had suffered a stroke. She tried to write a message to him, but her trembling hand could form only 2 words. No box. Kevin kept it. From that point on, his life shifted. Glass shattered in his house without warning. Lights flickered even after electricians rewired the building. Shadows darted at the edge of vision. Every night, he dreamed of the same figure, thin, dark, twisted as it crawled open-mouthed toward him. He woke every morning with bruises on his arms. He sold the box. For the transfers. The Dybbuk box passed from owner to owner like a cold breath in winter, unwelcome, unseen. But impossible to ignore. The next owner, a young college student, heard strange sounds in the night, objects moving on their own, voices murmuring inside locked rooms. His hair fell out in small clumps. His roommates were plagued by insomnia and nightmares. One by one, they moved out. He returned the box to Kevin. Kevin sold it again, this time to a couple. They returned it within 2 days. It went to a museum worker next. He lasted only 3. Finally, believing the box deserved careful study, Kevin listed it online, not as a harmless antique, but with a warning: do not bid on this unless you are prepared to accept responsibility. Still, someone did. A student named Jason Haxton. Jason Haxton's experience. Jason approached the Dybbuk box with the calm of a scholar. He was a museum curator, used to handling relics filled with history and emotion. But nothing had prepared him for the weight of this small wine cabinet. From the moment he brought it home, the air grew heavy, dense, as though saturated with old grief. He developed sudden health problems, coughing spells, rashes, bleeding from places that should not bleed. His eyes swelled shut some mornings. His nights were filled with vivid dreams of the same dark figure that had haunted Kevin. Objects moved. Lights died. Shadows lengthened. And always, the smell of jasmine. Jason spent years researching the box. He traced its origins to the Holocaust survivor who had insisted it never be opened. Her belief was clear, that a Dybbuk, a malicious, wandering spirit from Jewish folklore, had attached itself to her through tragedy and could not be released, not without consequences. Jason attempted rituals of containment. Not exorcism. Containment. And for a time, the disturbances slowed. Yet the box never lost its pulse. Its presence never faded. 6. The arrival in Las Vegas. Eventually, understanding that he could not destroy it and that he could no longer keep it, Jason transferred the Dybbuk Box to Zach Bagans, the paranormal investigator and owner of the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. There, the box rests behind sealed glass, surrounded by salt, prayers, and warnings. Visitors have fainted before even approaching it. Others describe sudden anxiety, dizziness, or the sense that something stands silently behind them. Even skeptics leave pale. And still, the wooden box sits quietly, as if waiting. 7. The continuing mystery. Since arriving at the museum, the Dybbuk Box has become one of the most infamous haunted objects in the world. But the truth remains unsettled, restless, much like the spirit it allegedly contains. Some believe the box is cursed. Some believe the box is a psychological trigger. Some believe the entire thing is a fabrication. Yet one pattern remains unbroken. Every person who has attempted to dismiss the box outright has later reported something they could not explain. A whisper, a dream, a shadow, a sickness, a sudden chill. Stories continue to surface, visitors describing unexplained scratches, cold hands brushing their backs, sudden visions of dark figures, overwhelming dread. One person fainted while looking at the cabinet. Another claimed their name was whispered in their ear. Some left nauseous. Others left silent. Whether the Dybbuk Box is truly possessed or simply steeped in generations of unresolved trauma, one thing is certain. Its story is not finished. Objects carry echoes, after all. And the Dybbuk Box carries something else entirely. So now, you have heard the quiet, atmospheric story of the Dybbuk Box, a tale woven through whispers, fear, and unanswered questions. A story that began in Europe, traveled through time and grief, and found new life in America. A story that continues to breathe in the dimly lit museum, where crowds come seeking proof or thrill, or simply the experience of standing near an object wrapped in mystery. But perhaps the real question is not whether the Dybbuk Box is cursed. Perhaps the real question is, why do so many people feel something the moment they get close? Is it suggestion? Is it spirit? Or is it the lingering weight of history, the kind that refuses to be forgotten? Whatever the truth, this haunted box mystery remains one of the most chilling and atmospheric stories of the modern era. And maybe, just maybe, some boxes were never meant to be opened.